This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Government prime time, bitch!
Hello and welcome back to the Silver Screen Scream Show. I'm your host, Kirby, and today is a very special episode. We are going to be doing a Resident Evil fan casting for the first game. I was going to do later games, but that might be a little bit different for another video, but we're going to be doing a fan casting for the very first video game that came out on the PlayStation 1 back in 1996, I believe is when it came out. And we have a very special guest with us today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Pryer. I am a Resident Evil collector of some sorts, you might say, and also a QA manager at WayForward Games.
This is the coolest part is, I don't know if you can see it in the background, but I actually have the Retro Realms Collector's Edition.
I was going to ask, because I saw the Michael Myers plush up top above.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that looks a lot like the one from the Retro Realms Collector's Edition.
My friend Riley from Slash and Cast, he worked for Boss Team Games for a while, and Retro Realms is a fantastic game, by the way. You all did a fantastic job, but he does like a weekly movie night, and I was talking about trying to get some collectibles, Resident Evil collectibles, and he's like, if you want to know a guy that has like an absurd amount of Resident Evil collectibles, look up this guy. So that's when I instantly followed you, and I was like, holy crap.
Just a small amount.
Just a little bit, as you can see in the background here. I actually only have two little collectibles. One of them's the little T-Virus behind me. But I did manage to get this little Birkin in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. My mother-in-law actually had one like on a shelf, and I was like, I didn't even know you were that cool. Like, you have a Birkin just sitting on your shelf. And she got me one for Christmas, and I was like, thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, you got an incredible setup there. I love the Lady Dimitrescu behind you. You have several of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the giant one is awesome too.
The giant one is awesome. The one further back is literally one of a kind. It was one that Capcom made for a Twitter contest.
Really?
And I ended up winning it. So it's one of one.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Good Lord.
That's why she became the centerpiece. But she also cursed me to that every official statue they make, I have to buy now.
Yeah. It's just one of them things now. You got to have Mommy Dimitrescu in the background at all times.
Yep.
Well, before we get started here, what got you into Resident Evil? Did you start from the very beginning, or was it a future title?
No, it was very beginning. It was just a case of, it was a little like later in the year after it came out. But when I grew up in a small town in the mountains, and I just grew up with like a Sega Genesis. Like, I didn't really get modern platforms at the time.
Yeah.
I went down to visit my cousins in LA, and because I was a guest, I was allowed to rent 2 video games. That night I picked one based on a movie I knew, GoldenEye 64.
Hell
and the other,
classic.
Resident Evil, just based on the cover art. So it was a good weekend overall.
Man, that Resident Evil cover art, is it the one with Chris Redfield looking like he's tweaking out?
Yes.
Yeah. You're like, I got to get my hands on that and see what's going on.
I saw it. I looked at it. There was a zombie on the back. I was like, ooh, I like zombies.
Yeah, actually, the first Resident Evil I played, which I watched my dad play some of the older titles, but I didn't start my actual journey until Resident Evil 4. Mm-hmm. And that one was terrifying too, but now after playing all of them, that one isn't as nearly as scary as some of the other games that have been released. The remake is on a whole other level. That one actually is terrifying.
Yeah.
That one's a great one. I actually never thought they could make a remake better than that original, but somehow I really do feel like they surpassed that. That they did a great job with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know I will say that in the conversations I've had this very weekend, I know not everyone's opinion on it, but I will say the original RE4 obviously influenced gaming as a whole, So for that, it will always have a very special place. Whereas the remake didn't really change anything up too much. It was just a refined version of it. And to me, I think it has better pacing. It's a darker game. Like, there are a lot of things about it that if I'm going to go back and play, I'm going to play the remake specifically.
Yeah, for sure.
That parry system is so
Oh my
intense.
God. I know. I remember during the demo they had, the chainsaw demo, just playing around with that parry system and like getting away. What's the chainsaw guy's name again? Dr.
Salvador.
Salvador, yeah. He just being able to reflect him was just such a game changer, because back in the original, he just cut off your head as soon as he got close to you.
Yep.
So yeah, it was awesome being able to implement that into the game. What's your favorite Resident Evil?
It's kind of a tie between Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 1 Remake.
Man, thank God for you. I'm telling you right now, I've never heard anyone say Resident Evil 7's their favorite. That one is honestly my favorite. And I understand it's different from the core, like, you know, you don't have your core characters in there, but that is the most Resident Evil game they've made in like even before, like, since before Remake 2 and stuff. That was the most Resident Evil we've gotten since Resident Evil 4, really, and even before.
Yeah. I mean, my mindset has always been, like, I loved the original game. Obviously, I played it on the PlayStation, and then years later, they had the remake on GameCube. It's why I bought a GameCube, and that became the refined, perfect way to play it at the time.
Yep.
Now, thankfully, it's on everything. But then Resident Evil 7, my feelings on it is the closest to the original formula than any of the sequels after it.
Yep.
Like, they all have elements of the original and iterate on it, but 7 felt like we're going back to the very roots of it and starting from there, just in a new perspective. And I know a lot of people were concerned because the first-person element, like, it's just first-person shooter, but like, functionality-wise, it doesn't play like a first-person shooter. It still plays like the Metroidvania style of the original game, where it's like going around, searching, finding the keys. But 7 was the first entry since the remake to make me feel actually like nervous about continuing. Like, there's the nervousness, like, playing in the moment when like the chainsaw Garrador is coming and gonna cut off your head. Like, it's stressful. But 7, the first time I played it, not knowing what was going to happen, the fact that it was a new character, I had no idea what his fate was. The opening scene with Mia in the house, and then you lose your arm. I was like, did they just pull a Kojima on us? Like, is he not the main character?
30 minutes, this is happening?
At first, I thought I failed something, and then like it just kept going. I was like, is he gonna die? Is there a different main character I don't know about? Like, I was like, that kept me on my toes, and I appreciated that. And it's really hard to do. I mean, it's why I'm looking forward to Requiem. Seeing a new protagonist means I don't know what they're going to do with them.
Yeah, really. I'm excited for Requiem. I know there's been a lot of like theories and so-and-so quote unquote leaks going on, which I'm sure some of those leaks are true to a certain extent. Like, I do believe we're going to see some legacy characters, most likely Leon, especially since we're going back to Raccoon City. But in that trailer, it sounded like we heard like Chris Redfield, like the latest rendition of Chris, who it was the same voice actor who played Carlos, I believe, in Resident Evil 3.
Yes.
Sounded very familiar.
That's the one thing that makes it difficult, because it could be him and also be a completely different character.
Dude, that'd be crazy. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, it could be Carlos. We don't know. Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of fun theories. They're like, is Nemesis still roaming around there? Which, I've
seen Nemesis. I've seen Lisa Trevor questions. Like,
yep.
I mean, to me, it's funny because going with an Outbreak connection, in Outbreak, like the post-credit scene of Outbreak was Umbrella looking for something in Raccoon City. And I'm sure that they didn't have a big plan at the time, but I feel like they're now picking up that thread and be like, we're going to do something with that thread. So
that's almost because everyone loves Nemesis. I mean, he's a beloved character, but when people think of villains, they're like, well, Wesker, we didn't expect him to come back the way he did. That would be the craziest thing if they're like, Nemesis is still alive and Umbrella's trying to get him back to use as a bioweapon or whatever this new organization is, because it's not exactly Umbrella, which they've never really stated exactly what this new organization is, I don't think. Have they?
There's been so many different ones. So it's unclear which one they're going to go with now, because 7 did a lot of like fixing some of that, because like in Code Veronica, Wesker was associated with a different company, and then they referenced them as being working like as part of 7. They were like a competitor to the antagonist of 7 company or something like that, where I was like, okay, you're trying to loop it all back together. I mean, at the end of the day, obviously everyone just wants Umbrella, and then you have the blue Umbrella that's maybe good, maybe bad. I mean, BSAA themselves, they're
doing some sketchy stuff.
Questionable. So it'll be curious to see what they do. And in terms of Nemesis, I will say, if Nemesis came back, what would he even be, though? Like, I assume he would just have evolved into some giant monster mesh. Like,
see,
like
yeah, because you keep breaking
fight.
him down, and he keeps looking like just a big pile of Play-Doh, like toward the end. I wonder if, like, somehow he did have like some sort of regeneration, like where it's been, what, 30 years or so, getting close to that point. I think.
Yeah,
he could have had plenty of time to somewhat regain this physical presence. It's hard telling, but that's a fun theory. I plan on doing a video based on like some fun theories going around, because that Lisa Trevor, which would be awesome too, because she is by far one of my favorite creatures in Resident Evil as a whole. She's tragic, but she wouldn't be able to be a villain, so what would they do with her? Just see her roaming around, really?
I mean, well, you say that, but how much time has gone by if that creature was still in Raccoon City? I'm calling it a creature, just no shame towards her, obviously, but because of what she became. Yeah. If at like this much time's gone by and she's just alive in some destroyed remains of Raccoon City or the Arklay Mansion, like, I'm like, I don't know. At that point,
she would be pretty feral, like, probably.
Yeah, you've lost it completely.
Because she found her mother. She found her mother. That's all she was doing. So now she really has no purpose. So it's hard telling what she would be like.
Yeah.
Man, we're going down a rabbit hole. We better get back into what this video's about. But yeah, today, guys, we're going to be doing a fan casting of the first Resident Evil video game. We're going to be listing a fan casting of the core characters such as Wesker, Chris, Jill, Barry, Rebecca, and Brad. Brad's not so much of a main character, but he kind of plays a role. But I also listed a few of the other ones of the team as well, just for fun, because I was just like, what if Jeremy did that? So I was like, we better dial it in. But yeah, let me go. Did you say you didn't have like the rest of the Bravo team and all that?
Correct. Only of Bravo I got Rebecca, obviously. And even I will say that on Alpha team, I struggled with Barry. I had an option, and then I was like, none of these are matching the age or look that I associate with the character. And I like psyched myself out. So I don't have a Barry.
Man, actually, Barry was an easy one for me, and I cannot wait to share that one. Let me pull up here. So for Richard, I have Kyle Garner. I don't know why, but I was just like, I need to throw some Kyle Garner in there because I love Kyle Garner.
That's fair.
And then Forrest, is that the one that was on the balcony that was eaten by the crows?
Yes.
Okay. I have Jalen Thomas Brooks from Thanksgiving. Really, I was just kind of basing it on some of the recent horror movies that I played, but I thought he'd be a good role. I mean,
the first image I see, I could see it.
Yeah. And then Enrico, this one actually I had to think about for a little bit, because I was like, who am I going to have try to spoil Wesker's plans? And I was like, well, I think Michael Pena from Ant-Man, I think he would be a lot of fun. I've not seen him really do a serious role, but I think he could do the part. I think he has that face that could play like a military operative. And I just like Michael Pena. I think he's great.
Also fair. I agree with that.
Joseph Frost. This one is the completely random one, but I just threw Ted Raimi in there.
Ted Raimi. Joseph Frost.
Just throw Ted Raimi in there.
A very random one.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? I'd love to see it too.
And then Brad Vickers. I was like, who am I going to have as a slimy little dickhead try to leave them? And I was watching Smile 2 the other day, and the actor Lucas Cage, I think
I was
he's.
like, I think that's where you're going with that. Yeah.
I think that's the guy that like killed himself with like the weight
Yes.
in Smile 2. I was like, he looks like he's got the face that would just betray everyone on sight.
And
So I was
he was really entertaining in Smile 2. He was in Companion just before that.
Yep.
He could pull that off.
Yeah, really. I liked him. He was good. And god dang, the special effects they used for that kill was absolutely brutal.
Yes.
Like, it was awesome. I was like, holy hell, I can't believe they did that. But, all right, now we have the core characters of Resident Evil. Let's go ahead and start with Rebecca Chambers. Do you have anyone that you chose for Rebecca?
I do. It's a weird off the wall choice, I will be honest. I like we were talking about briefly before this, I was focusing primarily on if they were to play them today, which actors would I pick? So I was looking in relation to age, area, and then like looking through them and seeing what they've done. I went with McKenna Grace, who plays in the latest 2 Ghostbusters films.
Oh, yeah.
She's literally the same age as the character right now. And I'm like, I obviously playing the Phoebe character in Ghostbusters. She's more of a nerdy character, but I mean, I could see her being able to pull that off.
Yeah.
As the rookie.
Yeah, she's definitely got that face too. Just looking at her on the screen here, she's kind of got like an innocent quality to her, which Rebecca is. If Rebecca's anything, for one, she's just such an innocent person. She always wants to try to help everyone she can. Given Resident Evil 0, she tried everything she can to help Billy.
Yeah.
I chose Isabella Merced, I think is her name. She's from The Last of Us Part 2. She played Dina.
She was also one of the ones I considered, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's an incredible actress. She really killed the role for Dina, I think.
Yeah.
And she's just got that face too that reminds me a lot of Rebecca.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
I loved her in The Last of Us 2.
Yes.
More than some of the other characters. Season 2 is a little bit of a mess, but so was the game too. So really, like, I don't know who to blame on that part.
Yeah, it is quite all over the place. And Isabella was also Alien Romulus.
Yes, she was. Oh man, that movie was incredible.
Yeah.
All right, Barry Burton. You said you had trouble finding Barry.
I had trouble finding Barry. What did you find for Barry?
My first choice, I was like, man, who is this big teddy bear looking character? And this guy is 50, so he's a little bit older, but I chose David Harbour.
Oh my gosh, that's actually a pretty good choice. Like I had not considered him at all. But yeah,
instantly when I looked at Barry, I was like, that would be David Harbour 100%, because he's definitely got the comedic chops. Yeah. And if we were going to do a modernized Resident Evil based on the first game, obviously you would need to throw just a little bit of cheese toward Barry. And David Harbour, he's got that 100%.
Yeah, no, I don't think there would have been a better option I could have come up with, because Barry was struggling, but I didn't consider with him, I didn't consider like the family personality, like the father of the group kind of character.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be a very good choice.
I do what I can, man. Did you eventually find someone for Barry?
No, I ended up talking myself out of the choices I had because they were too old at the time. Even though realistically, like you said, David Harbour's on the older side. I probably should have just listed one of them, but I don't have.
I was about to say, Barry's what, in his like 30s in the game?
I think so. It says he is 38.
38, yeah. That's not too big of a difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, and like Christine, they chose like a 30-year-old to play in high school, really, you know?
Yeah, that happened a lot back then.
Yeah. Well, who did you pick for, let's go ahead and do Wesker, because we'll choose the main two at the very end. Who'd you choose for Wesker?
So, I mean, I briefly mentioned to you before, obviously everyone's top choice is Anthony Starr, and I understand why. He visually is the character, especially with the Homelander appearance, and his performance as that character is perfect for Wesker.
Yep.
the only reason I did not choose him is because his age. He's literally older than when Wesker died.
Yeah.
So I think he would be perfect if we were talking Resident Evil 5 specifically. As Resident Evil 1, I went with somebody closer to Wesker's age that I do think is a strange pick. Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Oh, wow.
I'm sure it's the more out there pick, and of the group, it was the more out there that I chose. But it was like I've watched like Mickey 17. He recently did where he plays a lot of different variations. Obviously, He's been the Batman. Like he's come a long way from Twilight.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would be interested to see his version of that character.
I think he could pull it off, really, because the way I chose Wesker too, especially in the first game, he's strong and stuff. He's got the military training and stuff, but he's kind of a nerd. Like he's not really he's not scary whatsoever. Like Chris just laughs. Chris and Jill, they just laugh at him and just like, "What the hell? You're crazy. Stop laughing at me." So yeah, that I could see him doing that. I could not choose a definite one. I chose two of them because one of them I think has the potential to be a great Wesker later down the road because he's just got that creepy factor. And plus I watched Smile 2 and I was like, well, Ray Nicholson could play a good villain. He's just got that face. Now, acting chops, I didn't see too much of him, and I'm still not finished with Smile 2. I got like the last 30 minutes because my wife fell asleep and she made me stop it. So I was like, okay. But I definitely think if he's anything like his dad, then he's got what it takes to be a scary villain.
Yes.
But the second one, my main choice I chose was Bill Skarsgård. And that is because I think Wesker is more of a crazy psychopath in the first one than just being like the classic, like, oh, I'm pure evil. And I think Bill Skarsgård is really good at playing a deranged, crazy person more than anyone I've ever seen on film lately. And I think he's got that face to where like you can't take him too seriously, just like Wesker's not in the first game whatsoever. And I don't know if he's close to Wesker's age in the game, but just that face, I think he'd be really good at like being super upset, like, oh, my teammates are making fun of me when I'm supposed to be like scaring them. And I think Bill Skarsgård would play just a great Wesker.
Yeah, and he's 2 years younger than Wesker in the first game, so he'd
fit right in. Fit right in.
Yeah, no, I could 100% see those.
Who'd you choose for Jill?
For Jill, all right. So Jill, I had two options in the end, and I kept both of them because I was like, they're both age-wise, they're identical age. I think slightly older than the character at that time, but I could not pick between the two of them. They both have recently done a lot of good stuff. One, Haley Steinfeld.
Oh yeah.
With Sinners recently, Hawkeye show, like all that stuff. Like I could see her being the character 100%.
Oh yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah. Second one, similarly, Ella Purnell from Fallout, Fallout being one of the things.
Okay, I've never seen Fallout. I've been wanting to, and I don't know what happened. Time just got the best of me. I've heard it's fantastic.
It is really, really good. And that changed. I mean, obviously she's done a lot of things. She did Yellow Jackets. She did Arcane, voice in Arcane. I think that she could pull it off too.
Yeah. I went with another Last of Us role. Mm-hmm. I think Caitlin Dever would play an amazing Jill. I think she's amazing as Abby in The Last of Us Season 2. And, I mean, they're not exactly the same, but, I mean, when it comes to military experience and just being a complete badass, she fits the role perfectly. And she
100%.
definitely looks the part, too.
She does.
Like, I can see her she looks more like the remake Jill more than the original, but, still the same.
Yeah, 100%. I can see this. That makes total sense, honestly.
And for this one might be my hottest take here, but who'd you choose for Chris?
mine's going to be a random. Like, I'll be honest, mine's going to seem incredibly random. It's somewhat coincidental. It's just because recently a friend of mine met the actor, so he was in my mind when we were trying to get this list. Because I mean, obviously, I will say Robbie Amell very much looks the part in Welcome to Raccoon City.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't I didn't go that direction.
He did pretty good when it comes to that movie. I think he was one of the better choices for the roles in that movie.
Yeah. I didn't go as faithful as like I wasn't trying to match it up as similarly. I went with somebody whose name you might not know. Dacre Montgomery. He is Billy in Stranger Things 2 and 3, and he was the Red Ranger in the Power Rangers reboot series.
Yes.
Or movie, I should say.
Yeah. Man, I never thought about that.
Yeah, that was
would
one
be
where
good.
Like, I don't think anyone would have considered this, but I think that he could do it.
Oh, yeah, he definitely could. He's definitely, which, of course, Billy in Stranger Things is a little bit different, but I've seen him in Power Rangers, and he was good in that, too. Yeah. And I feel like he has that, because Chris Redfield in the games, he's a classic hero when it boiled down to it. He wants to do the right thing for everybody and to just be the hero is basically kind of just what he is. And I think that would be a really good choice. I went completely out of range here. But I think this actor would do a fantastic job, especially when it comes to Resident Evil 1. And I chose Mason Gooding.
Oh, yeah. No,
from the new Scream movies and Hard Eyes
5 and 6, Hard Eyes.
I think he's got that just little boy like heart to him that he really recognizes what Chris is in the first one.
He has so much charm too. Like just No, I think that he would do really well with that role. Actually,
now do I see him punching boulders a few movies down the road? Maybe.
You never know.
I mean, in Scream 6, he got stabbed like 30 times and lived. So, just grab a couple herbs. Yep. Grab a couple herbs, regain that strength, and keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I chose Mason Gooding. I think seeing everything, just the new Scream movies and Hard Eyes, he's just such a charming individual. And he's just everything I've seen him in. He's just got that innocent charm to him that I think Chris had, especially down the road. Like Chris is a little bit more damaged later in the games and everything, but when he's first working for stars and stuff, he is just ready to do the right thing, which a lot of these characters are. They're just fresh, ready to do the right thing and kick some ass. And yeah, I think these characters would fit very well.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Now, let's go ahead and move on to this new Resident Evil movie. Are you excited for the possible direction that they're going with this?
Gosh, this might be controversial. I'll preface this by saying the most controversial statement, which is I don't dislike the Paul Anderson movies because, like, the first one, it could be a prequel to the story before RE0, obviously. It was like its own thing set in that world. And then as they went on, it became like, and now how do we mix the games into our movie world? And then the movie world took a crazy swing of like, well, now Apocalypse happened. And we're just going to have it more as like fan service when we use the characters. But the thing I appreciated about that is that it was so distinctly different that whether you like it or not, if you were going to go into the games after seeing the movies, you would immediately know that these things are drastically different because the central character of the movies doesn't exist in the games. Like, that's just right off the bat. If you say, oh yeah, no, I like the movie or I hated the movie. It's like, well, this is different. There's no Alice character. Like, this is just anything you think that you're coming in with this perception of, remove that because the games are a different thing.
That's almost like the Until Dawn movie that I recently reviewed. It's like they just wanted to make money with the title. Like, which, don't get me wrong, I think the Until Dawn movie was good, but it just wasn't Until Dawn. Same with Resident Evil. It's like, you go in there, especially in 2 and stuff. I think 2 has the most connective tissue to the games than all the others, but it's still just nothing compared to the games.
Yeah. I will say I appreciate, like, to me, in some instances, I appreciate more. Sorry, I had a Barry Burton yell at me. I appreciate it more when it is something that can be separated, because the unfortunate side to me is, like, again, whether you love or hate Welcome to Raccoon City, I think on the visual side, it hits the movie, or I mean, it hits the game perfectly, like, on the visual side.
Yeah.
And the problem I have with that more is that if you come into it and it does disappoint you, or it is like, this is so bad, like, whatever, people associate that with the game, because they now associate, well, this is the faithful adaptation. It's like, well, it's visually faithful. It didn't really nail the characters, like their personalities, sometimes their character name alone. The plot is a weird mix of 2 different games that take place months apart from each other. Like,
yep.
You can dumb it down to be like beat-wise, like, yeah, and here's the boss fight scene. Like, yeah, there's elements of it, but then it's just not the same. And I think, though, it's so visually close that for somebody that's not as familiar, they will look at it and be like, that's the game. I'm like,
no. I'm
so
afraid not.
I like the concept of, hey, we're trying something different, because then on the other part of it is Resident Evil, especially the first couple, they were not really made like The Last of Us, like, going with season 1 for now. That game itself was made like a movie or a television show. So when they adapted it, it kind of fit more naturally. Resident Evil, there's no scenario to me where Resident Evil gets adapted and every fan likes it. Because
no.
Jill and Chris weren't together. They would have to be for the movie, because you can't have one character just trapped the whole time.
Yeah.
And it'd be weird to try to intercut 2 different people solving puzzles on 2 different sides of the mansion, and neither one's talking to anybody for most of the time. Like,
yep.
I don't, and then we get to, like, the logic issues of, like, well, these are, like, special police force agents walking around a mansion with monsters, going to find keys because they don't just kick in old wooden doors. And I'm like, I don't, like, because there's people that, like, very much, like, they want all the puzzles, and I get that. I like the puzzles in the game. I just don't know how you do that in a movie about monsters and, like, have that work. Like, how you make it believable. Suspension of disbelief. I just don't see that.
You know, I never once thought, like, seeing a movie where I never thought they could just kick in the door. For some reason, I was just like, oh, yeah, they got to find those keys. I never thought, these guys are trained military experts. They could just shoot the door handle and bust in.
Yeah.
That never once crossed my mind.
Like, on a game level, it works, because it's like, this is the game experience. On a movie level, I just don't know how they could adapt it in a way that everyone would be satisfied. And I think
especially with Resident Evil 2, where, like, you're in the RPD, you are an employee in that place, but you have to find specific keys.
Yeah.
That fit certain doors. It's like, oh.
Like, literally, if they were ever going to adapt as faithfully as possible, one, I think that it has to be a TV series more than a movie, because I think that there's, like, if you're going to try to be faithful, it's very slow paced in terms of, like, how you advance. The story doesn't all happen in, like, 30 minutes or an hour or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Resident Evil 2 is, like, one where it's like, I could see them doing, like, the Last of Us thing, where it's like, oh, well, season 2 is Resident Evil 2, but it's also season 3, and one season is Leon's story and one season's Claire's story.
Yeah.
And then, like, the convergence at the end kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with the Anderson films. It's like, it strays so far from the video games eventually that I don't even get as mad anymore, because I'm just like, they're not even trying to be like the video games. So I find an easier time. Now, there are parts that still piss me off, like in, what was the 5th one called?
Retribution?
Retribution. where the Leon's in there. Leon's a complete tool bag in that movie.
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
He's
very
a very
bad.
much nothing character. He
Yeah.
also, though, it goes to, like, I will say when people only fan cast based on looks, I'm like, well, that's what that guy was. Like, he was casted based on the look, and then it's just like he's just not a character. It's a
He's got
character.
the hair, man.
Yeah.
This is Leon.
The only Leon moment in it is that he is interested in Ada, but even then he takes it too far. Like,
Yeah.
just randomly
And even
like, puts his hand on her. I was like, that's weird.
like there's a part where he's just like, "Oh, we got to leave her." And it's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, that you're not Leon. Get out of here." But with Zach Kreger doing this new Resident Evil, which
I
I've
will
seen
say-
Barbarian.
Yes, Barbarian. The weapons trailer looks amazing. I'm very
Yeah.
interested in that.
I think if anyone can pull off the tone of what Resident Evil is in the games, the slow-paced survival horror, add a blend of action, I think Zach Kreger can pull it off. Now, that also depends on if Capcom and everyone lets him cook with it. Because I don't know why, but I think Capcom hates Resident Evil films. Like,
You know,
I don't know why.
I'm not sure. It's interesting. They were the last, like, they had to approve the original film.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know how much involvement they had. And then with Welcome Raccoon City, I feel like the marketing wise, everyone said, "Oh, they helped a lot." But I don't know that, like, they're like, they gave us maps. Well, you didn't use them for anything, so I don't know what the point of claiming that is. Like, there's things that's just like, this seems like, you know, more not based.
Maybe they just put too much trust in the other people and were like, "Here,
that could be.
make
I think
this."
I think there was a point, like Raccoon City, love or hate, I think that it is a situation where somebody wanted to keep the license to keep making those movies.
Yeah.
Because they threw it out at a really weird time with almost zero marketing and with a budget less than even the original 2002 movie. And it's like, that's kind of crazy when you think
That is crazy. Which, given with what they had, though, like the looks of it looked good.
Yeah.
But just story-wise, I don't know what they were trying to pull. And then that end credit scene with Wesker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was like, why did they do that when they know they're not getting a sequel? Like,
they had hopes. They had hopes. I will say, yeah, I mean, to me, on the foundation level, the writing is what failed that film more than anything else.
yeah.
In regards to this new one, I mean, I've heard rumors and even mumblings from somebody that's seen some of the script that implies that it's not an adaptation of any game. It's set in Raccoon City. At least mumblings wise, I was confirmed that it's all new characters, but narrative wise, I think I've heard somebody suggest that it's set in Raccoon City during the outbreak, and like the main character might be like a mail courier or something. Like, it's just like, oh, he's there during the outbreak, so it's his story. And whether or not any of the game characters are meant to appear, like he passes through them or something, passes by them, I don't know. But I'm like, okay, so it sounds like, again, they're taking the approach of, rather than try to adapt it and fail, we're taking the world and building around that, our own story.
I think that could work. If it's not, because like bringing back Until Dawn,
yeah,
there wasn't really a scenario where that could work.
Yeah.
So with Resident Evil, especially with just how much lore and everything is, because you have Outbreak, so you have these characters that were in Raccoon City during this crazy scenario. So this could basically be like an Outbreak, just another character just trying to get through the hell of Raccoon City. So
yes.
If that's the case, that could work. As long as they just keep the core identity of what Resident Evil is, and don't slander the games.
Yeah.
Then
and I
have hopes.
I do think, I mean, like you said, with his previous work, you could see Barbarian specifically, you could see that he could hit that kind of tone that it needs to be.
Yes.
Where it's serious, but also crazy and over the top and a little goofy at points. Like, it feels like it could hit all the appropriate beats needed. And I mean, I guess if it's just set in the world, it could use certain monsters. I didn't think, it's funny because, like, when I said game characters, you know, I don't know if any of them appear, but they could. I was thinking like, oh, well, Leon and Claire are obviously there during the events of the fall of Raccoon City, and Jill's escaping. But now, like you say that, I'm like, oh man, tie it to Outbreak. Like, we're about to get a game that ties back to Outbreak. You have Alyssa Ashcraft. You could use all these other characters.
That'd be a great Easter egg to throw in there, considering Requiem comes out next year too. I mean, they could just throw Alyssa in there as like a little, hey, this is Grace's mother and all that.
Yeah, just another survivor doing her own thing. Like,
yep. Don't even have to make her a main character. Just have her running around somewhere, and you can see her outfit, and the fans will know.
Yeah.
I mean, Resident Evil fans are some of the craziest fans I've ever met. We will know. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for hopping on here. This has been a lot of fun. I love talking Resident Evil like any day of the week. But if anyone were to keep up with what you're doing, where would they find you?
I'm pretty much everywhere and anywhere. I'm usually just my name, Jeremy Pryer. Except on Xbox, I'm Champion of Light because Alan Wake.
Oh, you're that guy, huh?
I am that guy. Some people recognize my name when Resident Evil Reverse came out. They recognized being killed by me. I would only play as Resident Evil 7 Chris because I knew it drove some people mad.
It pissed people off.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Classic. That is so funny. Well, yeah, guys, check out his page. Check out his collectibles because literally every single time I'm on Twitter, I'm like, holy crap, there's some other crazy thing this guy bought. And I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I am. I will say that. But yeah, keep up with his stuff. And if you guys, keep up with my channel as well, consider joining the Patreon for as low as $3. We have some fun episodes planned as well down the pipeline. If you need to reach me, I'm on all the socials as well. But until next time, guys, stay scary.